The Denver Broncos just got hit with some awesome news ahead of their game on Saturday against the Cincinnati Bengals. All Broncos are practicing today, per Chris Thomason of the Denver Gazette, so it would be a surprise if anyone has an injury designation for Saturday. Broncos, perhaps, are the healthiest team in the NFL at this stage of the season. Knock on wood for that statement, but if you judge the injury report for Thursday, that has not come out yet. It probably won't come out for another hour or two, but if you judge it off of Wednesday's report where everybody was full go, and today everybody seemed to be full go once again, nobody is going to be on the report heading into this game. That is awesome news. Sean Payton already confirmed that Riley Moss is good to go for this game. That was the anticipated return to play timeline, was that Cincinnati Bengals game. So a month's missed time for Riley Moss after his MCL sprain. Really good to have him back. I think we're finally going to see Vance Joseph go back to his more aggressive play calling tendencies with Riley Moss back out there. He can trust his DBs to hold up in man coverage. He can trust them to be able to communicate certain coverage responsibilities and pass off responsibilities. I think that we're going to see a lot more aggressive defense from the Denver Broncos in this game with Riley Moss back out there. The next big storyline here is Tyler Bidet, who is making his way back from that scary injury that he suffered in Week 4 against the New York Jets. They're officially calling it a back injury. He collapsed on the sideline. He was stretchered off. Again, really scary situation there. It's a borderline miracle that Bidet is back this season, and I think that he's got a chance to really energize this Broncos run game. We saw a lot of positive flashes from Tyler Bidet in his time with the Denver Broncos, dating all the way back to 2022. His very first game as a Bronco against the Chargers, he showed some burst and explosiveness, and he's managed to stick around in Denver on the practice squad for these past couple of years, and now he's been on the roster this year, but he's been on IR. He's got a chance to potentially be the big boost to this run game that the Denver Broncos desperately need. Jaleel McLaughlin also seems to be coming back from his quad injury. He missed the game against the Chargers. Definitely sorely missed him in that game. I do think Jaleel McLaughlin coming back will also provide some burst and explosiveness to the run game. It's going to be kind of nice having maybe a 1-2 punch here of Jaleel McLaughlin and Tyler Bidet, and in certain red zone, short yardage, and power run situations, that's when you can sprinkle in Audric Estime. I think we're going to start to see Javonte Williams get phased out more and more now that Tyler Bidet is back in the fold. Troy Franklin had a mild ankle injury, but full go throughout the entire week, so I anticipate no issues with Troy Franklin. The Broncos are, again, about as healthy as you could ask them to be right now. Knock on wood. I also want to go ahead and bring in the Bengals injury report, and this is one to keep an eye on here. T. Higgins, their star wide receiver, is questionable with ankle and knee injuries. I do anticipate that Higgins will play, and the Broncos are obviously preparing for Higgins to play, but let's just entertain the scenario very briefly that Higgins does not play. This could change the defensive game plan for the Broncos. I kind of like the Bill Belichick approach as far as defending Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. You actually put Pat Surtain on T. Higgins, and then you double Jamar Chase with Riley Moss and a safety over the top. That's actually a really sound strategy that could neutralize both Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. If Higgins is not out there, though, that could mean that we will see Pat Surtain on Jamar Chase most of this game. I know that some people in Broncos country are very mad at Vance Joseph for him not having Pat Surtain follow certain players into the slot, but offensive coordinators do a good job of getting their receivers favorable matchups. Sometimes they will scheme it to where it'll be guaranteed that that Jamar Chase will not be lined up on Pat Surtain. No matter what the coverage call is for Denver, they can't swap those responsibilities. It's just something that offensive coordinators do sometimes. They get paid to scheme up those plays too. There are ways that you can counter that, though. There are certain certain ways that you can guarantee that Pat Surtain will follow Ja'Marr Chase. The good news, though, is that the Bengals don't move Chase around a ton. They kind of keep him at the X receiver position. I'm not so much worried about them moving him into the slot too much and all that stuff, like the Chargers do with Ladd McConkey, where he lines up everywhere. They kind of lined up Jerry Jeudy in the slot and to the outside against the Cleveland Browns, you know. So I do think that overall the Broncos can neutralize Ja'Marr Chase and T. Higgins with Riley Moss back out there. If T. Higgins is not out there, though, it is going to make the job a little bit easier for the Denver Broncos defense. Additionally, Tanner Hudson, backup tight end, he is doubtful with a knee injury. Armarius Mims, their right tackle, is questionable with ankle and hand injuries. I do anticipate him to also play, but if the Bengals have a backup right tackle in there, they already have some offensive line issues. We'll talk about that in tomorrow's game preview video. I do think that could lead to some favorable matchups for the Broncos. Sheldon Rankins, starting defensive lineman, is out with an illness. Sam Hubbard has been out for the last several weeks, their star edge rusher. Charlie Jones, their wide receiver and punt returner, is questionable with a groin. Another edge rusher, Joseph Osai, is questionable with an illness. And then safety Geno Stone is questionable with an illness. So something pretty nasty must be going around in the Bengals locker room right now with all of these guys out or questionable with illness. But regardless, man, the Broncos might have an easier opportunity here with T. Higgins out. That doesn't mean that the Broncos should get complacent here and think this is an easy matchup. This is going to be a really tough matchup, especially for the Broncos defense against this high-flying Bengals offense. The Bengals defense does have some problems that the Broncos could exploit offensively. We'll talk about that a little bit more once again in the game preview video. The Broncos are going to have to go into this game with the attacking mindset, and they cannot let off the gas at all for all 4 quarters. All right, Broncos country, be sure to leave a like on this video as well as subscribe and ring the bell so these videos appear in your notification feed. And let me know in the comment section below, guys, how excited are you to potentially see Tyler Bidet back in the fold at the running back position? And until next time, guys, I'm your host, Gage Madrid, saying peace out.